The stars looked different from here. Commander Alex Bennett stood at the main viewport of the Earth vessel Odyssey, hands clasped behind his back. Humanity had finally done it, traveled beyond their own solar system and into the vast unknown. After decades of preparation, years of travel, and countless sacrifices, they were here to make first contact. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission," said Communications Officer Lisa Ford, her voice steady despite the excitement visible in her eyes. "It matches the signal patterns we detected earlier." Alex nodded. "Put it through to the main screen." The large display at the front of the bridge flickered to life. At first there was only static, then shapes began to form. The crew fell silent as they got their first look at an alien intelligence. The being on screen had a hard exoskeleton, with multiple compound eyes that reflected the light in iridescent patterns. Its mandibles clicked together as it made sounds that the ship's computer worked frantically to translate. "Greetings," the computer's voice finally announced, a half-second behind the clicking sounds. "I am High Chancellor Zextrill of the Vrolic Federation. We have observed your approach and welcome you to our territory." Alex stepped forward. "This is Commander Alexander Bennett of the Earth exploration vessel Odyssey. We come in peace seeking friendship and knowledge." Dr. Samantha Wells, the ship's chief xenobiologist, watched the exchange with keen interest. Something about the alien's posture changed when Alex spoke. A slight stiffening, perhaps. It was hard to read the body language of a species they had just met. "We invite you to dock at our primary station," the alien continued. "We would be honored to exchange cultural and scientific information." 3 hours later, a small delegation from the Odyssey stepped through the airlock and onto the Vrolic space station. The air smelled faintly of cinnamon and copper. The gravity was slightly lighter than Earth's. Lieutenant John Reeves, head of security, scanned the area with practiced eyes while keeping his expression friendly. Dr. Wells was the first to speak to their hosts directly. "Thank you for welcoming us. We have brought information about our world and species to share with you." She held out a data crystal containing carefully selected information about Earth and human culture. The Vrolics led them through sweeping corridors to a grand meeting chamber where representatives of their High Council waited. Other alien species were present too, some tall and willowy with pale blue skin, others short and stocky with multiple arms. "We are pleased to introduce you to some of our Federation allies," said Zextrill. "The galactic community is vast and diverse." For the next week, the human delegation participated in cultural exchanges, scientific discussions, and diplomatic meetings. They shared information about Earth's ecosystems, human physiology, and their history of overcoming conflict to reach for the stars. The Vrolics seemed particularly interested in human biology. "Your cellular regeneration rate is remarkable," said Vrolic scientist Kesmora, examining medical scans of the human crew. "And your endurance? You say humans can run for hours?" "Some trained athletes can run over 100 miles without stopping," Dr. Wells explained, "though most of us would find that difficult." The scientist's compound eyes flashed with a strange light. "Fascinating." On the 10th day of their visit, Alex noticed changes in how they were treated. Guards were more visible. Questions became more pointed, focused on Earth's military capabilities and population centers. Dr. Wells reported that their Vrolic liaison had asked 3 times about human pain tolerance and reaction to various toxins. "Something's not right," Alex told his core team in the privacy of their quarters. "They're studying us like we're some kind of threat." "I've noticed it too," said John, lowering his voice. "The way they watch us when they think we're not looking. It's like they're afraid." "Afraid?" Lisa asked. "Why would advanced species with technology far beyond ours fear us?" Dr. Wells had been analyzing data on her tablet. She looked up with concern in her eyes. "Because we're from a death world. I've been comparing planetary data they shared. Earth has gravity twice as strong as any of their homeworlds. Our atmosphere would be toxic to most of them. And our biology—" She paused. "We heal faster, run longer, and survive conditions that would kill them." The next day, the humans were invited to a grand summit with the Vrolik High Council and representatives from a dozen other species. It was to be the final event before they departed to establish ongoing relations. The summit hall was enormous, with soaring ceilings and windows that looked out on the stars. Alex felt a sense of pride as he led his team into the chamber. This was what humanity had dreamed of for centuries: peaceful contact with intelligent life among the stars. High Chancellor Zextrill welcomed them with elaborate ceremony. "Today marks a historic moment in galactic history," he announced to the assembled dignitaries. "The inclusion of a new species in our growing community." Something in his tone made Alex tense. He glanced at John, who gave an almost imperceptible nod. He had noticed it too. The High Chancellor continued, "We have learned much about our new friends in recent days. They come from a harsh world that would kill most of us within minutes. Their bodies can withstand damage that would be fatal. And to our kind, they can run without stopping until their prey collapses from exhaustion." Murmurs spread through the alien crowd. Alex frowned. This wasn't the tone of welcome he had expected. "They tell us they have overcome their violent past," Zexatrill's voice grew harder. "Yet their biology is built for one purpose: to hunt, to kill, to conquer." "That's not true," Alex stepped forward. "Our adaptations helped us survive, yes, but we've evolved beyond." "Silence, Deathworlder." The Chancellor's mandibles clicked rapidly. "We have seen what happens when predator species join the galactic community. We have studied your navigation data. We know where your homeworld is." The great doors slammed shut. Armed guards moved forward. "Earth represents a threat we cannot allow to spread," declared Zexatrill. "The High Council has voted. For the safety of all civilized species, humanity must be contained." Weapons appeared in the hands of the guards. John moved with shocking speed, pushing Dr. Wells behind a pillar as energy blasts scorched the spot where she had stood. "This is madness," Alex shouted. "We came in peace." "Yes," the Chancellor replied coldly. "That is what makes you most dangerous. You hide your predator nature behind smiles and talk of friendship. If this is how humans behave at their kindest, we cannot risk witnessing your fury." Chaos erupted in the chamber. 3 crew members fell immediately to energy weapons. Lisa managed to activate her emergency beacon before being stunned. Alex grabbed a ceremonial staff from the wall and swung it at the nearest guard, the motion fluid and powerful. The Vrolik officials watched in horror as the humans moved with a speed and strength their own bodies could never match. Even outnumbered and surprised, the humans fought with an intensity that confirmed their worst fears. "Seal all exits," ordered Zextrill. "None can escape to warn Earth." But he had underestimated human ingenuity. Dr. Wells had already hacked into a maintenance panel, creating a diversion by overloading power conduits. John had disarmed 2 guards and was using their own weapons against them. Alex saw his opportunity. "This way," he called to the surviving crew members, ducking into a service corridor Dr. Wells had opened. As they ran through the station's maintenance tunnels, alarms blaring behind them, Alex's mind raced. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. Humanity had come seeking friendship among the stars. Instead, they had found fear and betrayal. And now, Earth itself was in danger. Blood dripped from a cut above Alex's eye as he led the survivors through the dimly lit maintenance tunnels. Each junction looked the same, pipes and conduits running in all directions, humming with energy. Behind them, the sounds of pursuit echoed off the metal walls. "We need to find a way off this station," Alex said, his voice low but urgent. Dr. Samantha Wells studied a glowing panel on her tablet. "There's a minor docking bay 3 levels down. Maintenance vessels, supply ships. Can you access it?" John Reeves asked, keeping his stolen Vrolik weapon ready. "Maybe," she replied. "Their systems are advanced but follow logical patterns." The 5 surviving humans pressed on. Besides Alex, Sam, and John, they had Communications Officer Lisa Ford and Engineer Kevin Ross. The others had been killed in the ambush or captured. They reached a junction where the tunnel split in 3 directions. Distant clicking sounds came from the left passage. Vrolik search parties getting closer. "This way," Sam pointed to the right tunnel. It should lead to a maintenance lift. The lift was small, designed for the more slender Vrolic engineers. The humans squeezed inside, the door shutting just as alien voices grew louder around the corner. "I still can't believe it," Lisa whispered as the lift descended. "We came in peace. We showed them nothing but respect and friendship. That's what scared them," Sam said, checking her tablet for any new information. "They saw our physical abilities, our adaptability, and assumed we were hiding our true nature." The lift doors opened to a shadowy corridor. They moved cautiously, following Sam's directions. Finally, they reached a small docking bay with 3 vessels, 2 small maintenance ships, and 1 slightly larger supply transport. "The transport is our best bet," Kevin said, examining the ships from the doorway. "It will have life support for longer journeys." "And a communication array," Lisa added. "We need to warn Earth." John surveyed the bay. 2 guards at the far entrance. "I don't see any others, but there could be more out of sight." Alex nodded. "John and I will create a diversion. Sam, you and the others get to the ship and start the launch sequence." The plan worked at first. John and Alex drew the guards' attention while the others slipped to the transport ship. But as Sam worked to override the docking clamps, an alarm blared throughout the station. "They've found us," Lisa called from the ship's entrance. A squad of Vrolic security forces poured into the bay, weapons raised. Alex and John raced toward the ship, energy bolts sizzling past them. One struck Kevin in the leg and he fell with a cry of pain. John turned back, lifting the engineer over his shoulder without breaking stride. They barely made it inside the ship before Sam sealed the hatch. "Get us out of here," Alex ordered, helping John settle Kevin in a seat. "Working on it," Sam replied, her fingers flying over the alien controls. "These systems are meant to prevent unauthorized launches." Energy weapons pounded the hull, leaving scorch marks, but not yet penetrating. Lisa found the communication controls and tried to establish a connection to Earth. "The long-range comms are locked down," she reported. "They're blocking all outgoing signals." With a final override, Sam released the docking clamps. The ship lurched free, scraping against the bay doors as she piloted it into space. Vrolic defense vessels immediately gave chase. "They're faster than us," Sam said grimly as the ship shuddered under weapons fire. Alex studied the navigation display. "There," he pointed to a dense asteroid field nearby. "Can we make it there?" Sam nodded. "It might be our only chance." She pushed the engines to their limit, the stolen transport groaning under the strain. The Vrolic ships followed, their superior speed closing the gap. Energy weapons lanced out, one blast hitting their rear stabilizer. "Hang on," Sam called as she plunged the ship into the asteroid field. What followed was a desperate game of hide and seek among the floating rocks. The transport wasn't designed for such maneuvers, but Sam pushed it beyond its limits. 2 Vrolic ships crashed into asteroids. A third continued the pursuit until John, manning the ship's small defensive array, managed a lucky hit that disabled its engines. Finally, they found refuge in the shadow of a massive asteroid, powering down all non-essential systems to avoid detection. "We need a plan," Alex said as they gathered in the small control room. Kevin's leg had been bandaged, though he still looked pale from the pain. "Our priority has to be warning Earth," Lisa said. "The Vrolics have our navigation data. They know exactly where to find our home. But we can't break through their communication." "Blockade," John pointed out. Sam had been studying the ship's database. "There's a mining outpost at the edge of this system, abandoned recently according to these logs. It might have communication equipment we can modify." Alex nodded. "It's our best option. How's our fuel situation?" "If we're careful, we can make it," Sam replied. 3 days later, they reached the mining outpost, a collection of prefabricated structures clinging to a small, resource-depleted moon. The place was eerily silent, but the basic life support system still functioned. While Sam and Lisa worked to repair the outpost's communication array, Alex and John explored the facility, searching for supplies and information. In a data storage room, they found something unexpected. "Sam, you need to see this," Alex called over their internal comms. The others joined them in the room, where Alex had activated a holographic display. It showed propaganda messages being broadcast throughout. The Vrolik Federation. These are all about us, Lisa said, her voice hollow as she translated the alien text. They're calling humans apex predators and Deathworlders, who represent an existential threat to all civilized species. The images showed humans depicted as monsters, with exaggerated strength and aggression. One sequence showed a human continuing to fight after sustaining injuries that would kill a Vrolik. They're terrified of us, Sam whispered. And they're mobilizing, John added, pointing to military deployment orders scrolling across the bottom of the display. This isn't just about us anymore. They're preparing for a full-scale attack on Earth. We have to warn them, Alex said, his jaw tight with determination. How's the communication array coming? It's not good news, Sam replied. I've identified the problem. The Vroliks have established a massive jamming field throughout their territory. Any message we send would be detected and intercepted before it got halfway to Earth. A soft sound from the doorway made them all turn. John raised his weapon. Do not shoot, said a small voice. I am not your enemy. A tiny figure stood in the shadows. It was unlike the Vroliks. No exoskeleton, just soft gray skin and large luminous eyes. It stood barely 3 feet tall. I am Nixa, the creature said. My people are the Makari. We were like you once, newcomers who faced Vrolik, fear. What happened to your people? Sam asked gently. Nix's large eyes blinked slowly. The Vroliks decided we were too dangerous to exist freely. They destroyed our homeworld. Those who survived hide in shadows and forgotten places. Why are you helping us? Alex asked. Because I have watched you, Nixa replied. You fought only to escape, not to kill. You helped your injured one when you could have left him behind. The small alien stepped forward. And because the Vroliks must be stopped before they do to your world what they did to mine. Alex looked at the others, then back to the small alien. Can you help us warn our people? Nixa nodded slowly. Perhaps. But first, you must understand what you truly face. The Vrolik fear is not just about you. It is about what you represent. What do we represent? Lisa asked. Hope, said Nixa. Hope for all those the Vroliks have conquered and subjugated. You are something they have never encountered, a species they cannot easily defeat. For the first time since the ambush, Alex felt a spark of possibility. They were not alone in this struggle. Tell us everything you know, he said to Nixa. We need to understand what we're up against. Nixa led the humans through hidden passages beneath the mining outpost. The small alien moved with practiced ease through the narrow tunnels, pausing occasionally to check for signs of danger. Alex had to crouch to avoid hitting his head on the low ceiling. My people have used these places for many cycles, Nixa explained. The Vroliks never look in the spaces they consider too small or unimportant. The tunnel opened into a larger chamber filled with salvaged equipment. 3 more Makari looked up as the group entered, their large eyes widening at the sight of the humans. These are the ones I spoke of, Nixa said to the others. The new Deathworlders. One of the Makari stepped forward. I am Tala, leader of this cell. Nixa says you wish to warn your homeworld of the coming attack. Alex nodded. The Vroliks have our navigation data. They're preparing to strike Earth. We need to send a message. Tala gestured to a makeshift communication array in the corner. We have built this from parts gathered over many cycles. It can bypass the Vrolik jamming fields, but only for brief transmissions. Sam examined the device with interest. This is incredible engineering. You've modified Vrolik technology and combined it with something else I don't recognize. Components from many worlds, Tala explained. The Vroliks have conquered many species, each with their own knowledge. Lisa joined. Sam at the communications array. If we can send even a short burst transmission, we might be able to warn Earth to prepare defenses. As they worked on the message, John and Kevin spoke with the Makari about Vrolik military capabilities. The news was grim. Their main fleet has ships that can destroy entire cities from orbit, Tala said. They have used them before on worlds that resisted. How many other species have they targeted like this? Kevin asked. Tala's large eyes blinked slowly. In my lifetime 3, but our history records many more. Any species they cannot control, they destroy. And no one stops them? John asked. Frolic Federation controls most known worlds in this sector of space, Nixa explained. Those who might oppose them are either already destroyed or too afraid to stand against them. A new voice spoke from the tunnel entrance. Not all are afraid. The humans turned to see a tall, slender figure enter the chamber. At first glance, it looked similar to the willowy, blue-skinned aliens they had seen at the Vrolik station. But there was something different about this one. A hardness in its eyes, a tension in its posture. This is Kel, Tala said. He is a sentinel. Kel nodded to the humans. I have been waiting to meet you. Word has spread quickly about the new Deathworlders who fought back against the Vroliks. You were at the station, Alex realized. I saw you at the summit. I am a spy, Kel admitted. My people have hidden our true nature from the Vroliks for generations. Like you, we come from what they would call a death world, though perhaps not as harsh as yours. This revelation stunned the humans. Kel's people had appeared delicate, almost fragile. You hide your strength, Sam said. You pretend to be weaker than you are. Kel nodded. It is how we have survived. The Vroliks believe they have tamed us, that we are no threat. But we have been building our resistance in secret for many cycles. And now you want to help us? John asked, his voice skeptical. Your arrival has changed everything, Kel replied. The Vroliks fear you more than any species they have encountered before. They speak of your endurance, your strength, your resilience, and most of all, they fear your adaptability. That's why they're rushing to attack Earth, Lisa said from the communication array. They want to strike before we can adapt to their technology. Yes, Kel agreed, but their fear has made them careless. They speak openly of plans they would once have kept secret. They move troops and ships without their usual caution. This creates opportunity. Alex felt a glimmer of hope. An opportunity to do what? To build an alliance, Kel said. Many subjugated species have contact with my people. They wait for a chance to break free from Vrolik control. Your arrival may be that chance. Over the next few days, the humans worked with their new allies. Sam and Lisa modified the communication array with Kevin's help, increasing its power and security. John and Alex trained with Kel, learning about Vrolik weaknesses and sharing human combat tactics. More resistance fighters arrived, representatives from species the humans had never seen before. Some came out of curiosity, others from a desire for vengeance against the Vroliks. We're building something here, Alex told his crew as they gathered for a meal. Something the Vroliks never expected. An army? John suggested. Alex shook his head. More than that. A coalition of species working together, maybe the first real one in this part of space. On the 10th day, Sam announced that the communication array was ready. We can send a burst transmission to Earth, it won't be much. Just a warning and basic information about Vrolik capabilities. Will it be enough? Lisa asked. It will have to be, Alex replied. Earth needs to know what's coming. They gathered around the array as Sam made the final adjustments. Ready, she said, looking up at Alex. He nodded. Send it. The array hummed with power as it punched a signal through the Vrolik jamming field. For 15 seconds it transmitted their warning to Earth. Then, with a shower of sparks, several components burned out. Did it work? Kevin asked. Sam checked her readings. The signal went through. Whether it reached Earth, we won't know until... An alarm sounded from one of the Makari devices. Tala rushed to check it. The transmission was detected, the small alien announced. Vrolik patrol ships are changing course toward this sector. How long do we have? Alex asked. Hours, perhaps, Tala replied. We must evacuate this location. As they prepared to leave, Kel approached Alex. There is something you should know. Our intelligence network has learned that the Vrolik attack fleet has already departed for your world. Alex felt his stomach drop. When? 4 days ago, Kel said. They will reach Earth in less than 2 weeks by your time measurement. Then, our warning might be too late, Lisa said, her voice hollow. Alex looked around at the gathered aliens and his human crew. They had all risked everything to help Earth. They couldn't give up now. We need a new plan, he said firmly. If we can't warn Earth in time, we need to slow down that attack fleet. How? John asked. We have one small ship and a handful of fighters. Kel's expression shifted to something that might have been a smile. We have more than that. My people have been preparing for this moment for generations. We have ships hidden throughout Vrolic territory. We have operatives on their major worlds and stations. And we have something the Vrolics don't expect, Nixa added. We have humans. For the first time since the ambush, Alex felt a surge of determination replace his fear. He looked at the faces around him, human and alien alike, united by a common enemy and a common purpose. The Vrolics think they know what humans are capable of, he said. They've only seen us trying to escape. They haven't seen what happens when we decide to fight back, Sam nodded. They feared us at our kindest. Now they'll witness our fury, John finished. Alex turned to Kel. Tell us about these ships your people have hidden. We need to plan our next move. As they evacuated the mining outpost, moving deeper into the network of hidden bases and secret passages that the Resistance had built, a new sense of purpose filled the human crew. Earth was in danger, but they were not helpless. They were not alone, and the Vrolics were about to learn that attacking humanity was the biggest mistake they had ever made. The stolen Vrolic transport ship drifted silently through space, its engines powered down to avoid detection. Inside, Alex and his crew prepared for what might be their most desperate mission yet. The Sentinel ships will rendezvous with us in 20 minutes, Kel reported, studying a holographic display of the surrounding sector. They have successfully avoided Vrolic patrols by using the old mining routes. Alex nodded. Over the past week, their small resistance had grown. 8 ships now formed their makeshift fleet, the human transport, 3 Sentinel vessels that had been hidden for years, and 4 smaller craft piloted by various species who had joined their cause. Our target is the Vrolic command ship, Alex reminded everyone. According to Kel's intelligence, it controls communication for the entire attack fleet. If we can disable it, we might buy Earth precious time. Sam had been working with Kevin to modify the weapons on their transport. The Vrolics don't expect us to attack, she said. Their entire strategy is based on the assumption that we're running, not fighting. That's our advantage, John added. He had been training several of the alien resistance fighters in human combat tactics. Many were amazed at what humans considered basic physical feats. Lisa monitored communications. I'm picking up something, she said suddenly. It's faint, but it's from Earth. Everyone gathered around her console. The message was broken and distorted, but clear enough to understand the basics. Earth had received their warning. Defense preparations were underway, but the message also confirmed their worst fears. The planet's defensive capabilities were no match for the Vrolic fleet. At least they know what's coming, Alex said grimly. We received another transmission from my homeworld, Kel added. More of my people have revealed themselves. The resistance grows stronger by the day. The plan they had developed was risky. The Vrolic attack fleet consisted of over 30 vessels, with the massive command ship at its center. Their small resistance fleet would never win in direct combat. Instead, they would use stealth and surprise. When the Sentinel ships arrived, final preparations began. The resistance fighters divided into teams, each with specific objectives. Alex would lead the main assault team. John would command a second team focused on disabling the command ship's weapons. Sam and Kevin would target the communication systems. Remember, Alex told everyone before they departed, we're not trying to destroy the ship. We want to disable it and broadcast evidence of Vrolic crimes to the entire sector. The journey to intercept the Vrolic fleet took 3 days. They traveled through rarely used corridors of space, guided by Makari knowledge of hidden routes. Finally, they reached their destination, an area of space where the Vrolic fleet would need to slow down to navigate a dense field of stellar debris. "They're coming," Lisa announced, monitoring the long-range sensors. 35 ships approaching at sublight speed. "Are we in position?" Alex asked. Kel nodded. "All ships are in place. The debris field will mask our approach until we're too close for them to react effectively." "Then we go on my mark," Alex said, taking a deep breath. "Remember, whatever happens today, we've already achieved something important. We've built an alliance the Vrolics thought impossible." The massive Vrolic fleet appeared on their sensors, moving in tight formation through the debris field. At the center was the command ship, nearly 10 times the size of their transport. "Now," Alex ordered. Their small fleet burst from hiding places among the larger debris pieces, engines at full power. The element of surprise worked perfectly. Before the Vrolic ships could organize a defense, the resistance vessels were among them, targeting specific systems rather than trying to destroy the much larger ships. Alex's transport headed directly for the command ship, followed closely by 2 Sentinel vessels. Vrolic defensive fire began almost immediately, but the smaller, more agile ships were difficult targets. "Approaching Docking Bay 3, Sam called out as she piloted the transport with remarkable skill. "Defenses are heavier than expected." "We're drawing their attention," Kel said from one of the Sentinel ships. "Continue your approach, we'll keep them occupied." The Sentinel ships peeled away, engaging Vrolic fighters with unexpected ferocity. Their ships, disguised for years as simple trader vessels, revealed hidden weapon systems that caught the Vrolics completely by surprise. Sam guided their transport into a small maintenance dock on the underbelly of the command ship. The docking clamps engaged with a metallic thud. "We're in," she announced. "Atmospheric readings show the area is pressurized." Alex led the boarding team. John had trained them well. Each member moved with purpose, covering sectors and advancing methodically through the ship's corridors. They encountered resistance almost immediately. "Down!" John shouted as energy weapons fire erupted from an intersection ahead. The humans reacted with a speed that amazed their alien allies. While the Vrolic security forces were still adjusting their aim, John and Alex had already flanked them, returning fire with deadly accuracy. "This way," Nixa said, pointing to a maintenance shaft. The small Makari's knowledge of Vrolic ship design proved invaluable as they navigated toward the communication center. Meanwhile, on Earth, Prime Minister Lauren Grant stood in the Global Defense Command Center, watching as the planet's military forces mobilized. The warning from Alex's team had given them precious days to prepare, but the outlook remained grim. "The Vrolic fleet has entered the outer solar system," reported Captain Diane Foster, commander of Earth's primary defense fleet. "Our long-range sensors confirm 35 vessels heavily armed. They will reach Earth in approximately 12 hours. "What's our defensive capability?" the Prime Minister asked. 23 ships with our latest drive systems," Captain Foster replied, "plus orbital defense platforms. But our technology is significantly behind theirs based on the intelligence we received." The Prime Minister nodded grimly. "We've evacuated major population centers and moved key personnel underground, but if their weapons are as powerful as reported, we'll fight with everything we have," Captain Foster promised. Back on the Vrolic command ship, Alex's team had reached the main communication center. The fighting had been intense. 2 of their alien allies had been wounded, and Kevin was treating a burn on his arm from a near miss. "Sam, start the upload," Alex ordered as they secured the room. "Lisa, prepare the broadcast." Sam connected her tablet to the Vrolic systems. For months, the Makarian Sentinels had been collecting evidence of Vrolic atrocities, records of planets destroyed, species subjugated or eliminated, the systematic suppression of any potential rivals. "I'm in," Sam announced. "Downloading. Their command codes now. Hurry," John warned from his position at the door. "They're regrouping for a counterattack." Outside the command ship, the battle continued. The Resistance fleet had managed to disable several Vrolic vessels, but they were taking heavy losses. 2 of their ships had already been destroyed. "We need more time," Lisa said, as she worked to establish a sector-wide broadcast frequency. Suddenly, The ship rocked with a massive explosion. Emergency alarms blared. "What was that?" Alex demanded. Kel's voice came through their communicators. "The Vrolic Admiral has ordered the destruction of his own damaged vessels to prevent us from capturing them. They're getting desperate." Sam looked up from her work, her expression grim but determined. "I've got what we need. Full access to their command systems, including control of the fleet's navigation." Alex nodded. "Do it." With a few commands, Sam activated the program they had prepared. Throughout the Vrolic fleet, navigation systems suddenly received new coordinates, sending ships veering off course or into emergency stops. "Broadcast ready," Lisa announced. "Send it," Alex ordered. The evidence of Vrolic crimes began broadcasting on all frequencies, reaching every ship in the sector and beyond. At the same time, Sam initiated the command to halt the attack fleet's advance toward Earth. "It's working," she reported. "The fleet has stopped moving." On the command deck of the Vrolic flagship, Grand Admiral Zex Kaltar watched in horror as his carefully planned attack fell into chaos. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his officers. "Humans," one of them replied simply, mandibles clicking in distress. "They have taken control of our systems." The Admiral's compound eyes flashed with rage. "Launch the forbidden weapons," he ordered. "If we cannot conquer Earth, we will destroy it entirely." Back in the communication center, Sam detected the new commands being issued. "Alex," she called out urgently, "they're activating something called World Killers, some kind of planet-destroying weapon." "Can you stop it?" Alex asked. Sam's fingers flew over the controls. "Trying, but they're using separate systems, isolated from the main network." John's voice came urgently from the doorway. "We have company, lots of it." The sound of approaching Vrolic security forces echoed down the corridor. Their mission was hanging by a thread, with Earth's fate in the balance. The corridor outside the communication center echoed with the sound of approaching Vrolic security forces. John and two Sentinel fighters took defensive positions at the entrance, while Alex joined Sam at the control console. "How much time do we have?" Alex asked. Sam's face was grim as she worked. "The World Killer weapons are powering up. They'll be ready to fire in about 15 minutes. Can you stop them?" "I'm trying, but they're locked behind security protocols I can't break," Sam replied, frustration clear in her voice. Lisa looked up from her console. "The broadcast is still going out. Ships from other sectors are responding. Some are offering help." "We need more than help," Alex said. "We need a miracle." At that moment, the ship rocked with another explosion. Alarms blared throughout the vessel. "What was that?" Alex asked. Kel's voice came through their communicators. "Earth ships have arrived. They somehow managed to reverse engineer Vrolic drive technology from the data you sent." On the main display, they watched in amazement as a fleet of Earth vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel. Though smaller than the Vrolic ships, they attacked with surprising effectiveness, targeting key systems with precision strikes. "Captain Foster sends her regards," came a new voice over their communication channel. "And Prime Minister Grant has a message for the Vrolics. You have mistaken our kindness for weakness. Humanity will no longer restrain itself." The Earth ships had brought something the Vrolics had never encountered: human military strategy unrestrained by the desire for peaceful contact. They attacked in patterns that confused Vrolic tactical computers, using maneuvers too risky for the more cautious alien commanders. "This changes everything," Alex said, hope rising in his chest. "But we still need to stop those world killers." John called from the doorway, his voice tense. "Whatever you're going to do, do it fast. We can't hold this position much longer." Sam had been studying the Vrolic systems with intense focus. "I can't shut down the weapons," she said finally. "But maybe I can change their target." "What are you thinking?" Alex asked. "The Vrolic flagship," Sam replied. "If I redirect the targeting coordinates..." Alex nodded grimly. "Do it. But we need to get our people off this ship first." The next few minutes were a blur of activity. Lisa sent emergency evacuation orders to all resistance fighters on board. Kevin worked with Sam to alter the targeting systems of the World Killers. John and the Sentinels fought a desperate holding action at the entrance to the communication center. 5 minutes until the weapons fire, Sam reported. Alex made a decision. John, get everyone to the transport. Sam and I will finish here and follow. John hesitated for just a moment, then nodded. Don't be late, he said, before leading the others toward the escape route. Working together, Sam and Alex completed the targeting changes, then disabled the control systems to prevent the Vrolics from discovering what they had done. That's it, Sam said. Let's go. They ran through the corridors of the Vrolic ship, energy weapons fire erupting around them. Alex took a glancing hit to his shoulder but kept moving. The pain fueled his determination. They reached the transport ship just as the last of their team was boarding. The docking clamps had been damaged in the fighting, forcing Kevin to manually override the release mechanisms. Hurry, Lisa called from the ship's entrance. With seconds to spare, they boarded the transport. Sam rushed to the pilot's seat and fired up the engines. The ship lurched free from the damaged docking port, scraping against the hull of the Vrolic vessel as it pulled away. All resistance ships, clear the area immediately, Alex broadcast to their allies. Maximum distance from the Vrolic flagship. On the command deck of the Vrolic vessel, Grand Admiral Zexkaltar watched with satisfaction as the world killer weapons reached full power. Target Earth, he ordered. Show these primitives the price of defiance. Targeting locked, Admiral, an officer reported. Firing sequence initiated. The massive energy weapons began to glow with deadly power. The Admiral's compound eyes reflected their ominous light. Fire, he ordered. The weapons discharged, releasing energy that could shatter a planet's crust. But instead of streaking toward distant Earth, the destructive force erupted in a circle around the Vrolic flagship itself. What's happening? The Admiral demanded, mandibles clicking in panic. The targeting systems have been altered, an officer replied, frantically working at his console. We're firing on ourselves. The flagship shuddered as the energy weapons tore through its own shields and hull. Secondary explosions rippled through the massive vessel as power systems overloaded. From a safe distance, the human transport and the remaining resistance ships watched as the Vrolic flagship began to break apart. We did it, Lisa whispered. The destruction of the flagship threw the Vrolic fleet into chaos. Without centralized command, each ship acted independently, some continuing to fight while others began to retreat. The Earth vessels pressed their advantage, joined by newly arrived Sentinel ships that had revealed their true capabilities. More alien vessels appeared as word spread of the Resistance's success, species that had suffered under Vrolic rule for generations, finally seeing an opportunity for freedom. 3 days later, Alex stood on the bridge of an Earth vessel, looking out at the stars. The remains of the Vrolic fleet had been captured or driven away. Earth was safe, at least for now. Prime Minister Grant's face appeared on the main communication screen. Commander Bennett, on behalf of all humanity, I thank you and your crew for your extraordinary service. We had help, Alex replied, gesturing to Kel, Nixa, and the other alien allies who stood with him. Without these allies, we wouldn't have stood a chance. Then our thanks extend to them as well, the Prime Minister said. This marks a new chapter for Earth and for all the peoples who have suffered under Vrolic oppression. Sam stepped forward. Prime Minister, we've uncovered something important from the Vrolic databases. They've been manipulating galactic politics for millennia, eliminating any species they couldn't control. There are dozens of worlds that need help, and they shall have it, the Prime Minister promised. We're already organizing humanitarian missions. Later, as Alex and his crew had a quiet moment together, John asked the question that was on everyone's mind. What happens now? The Vrolics are defeated but not destroyed. There will be others like them out there. Now we build something better, Alex replied. The Vrolics united species through fear. We have a chance to build a real alliance based on mutual respect. Sam nodded. They feared us because they couldn't understand how beings from a harsh world could choose peace and cooperation over domination. They feared us at our kindest, Lisa said softly. And they were right to fear us, not because we're monsters, but because we refused to become like them even when we could. 1 month later, representatives from 24 species gathered on Earth for the founding of the new Galactic Confederation. Alex and his crew stood proudly as Prime Minister Grant signed the charter alongside alien leaders. Kel approached Alex after the ceremony. "My people have a saying, the strongest tree bends in the wind. We thought humans were dangerous because of your physical capabilities. Now we understand your true strength." "What's that?" Alex asked. "Adaptability," Kel replied. "The willingness to change, to find another way. You could have destroyed the Vrolix completely, but you chose a different path." As they looked out over the gathering of humans and aliens working together to build a new future, Alex smiled. "That's the real power of humanity. Not our fury, though that's real enough when needed." "What then?" Kel asked. "Hope," Alex said simply. "No matter how dark things get, we never stop believing tomorrow can be better than today. And we're willing to work to make it happen." Outside the conference hall, children from Earth played alongside young aliens from a dozen worlds. They had no memory of the fear that had divided their parents' generations. To them, the differences between species were fascinating rather than frightening. It was, Alex thought, the most fitting victory of all.